Hello, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I had to read this for one of my university classes, but I didn't mind because it was the second time that I've read this and I enjoyed it more the second time. It's full of action. If you're only familiar with those images of Frankenstein from the 1950s horror classic films, you know, the big green Boris Karloff, if that's your image of Frankenstein, then you are dead wrong. First of all, the book begins with a man he's writing letters to his sister, and he has embarked on this wild, adventurous quest. He's traveling from, I think it's St. Petersburg, and he's going up to the vast north of Russia to Archangel, and he's going to hire a bunch of hardy sailors, and they're going to go north in search of the magnetic North Pole. I believe that's his quest. Way up in the north, and they see this enormous figure driving a sled with some dogs, and they can't believe it because they're so far north. They didn't imagine that a human being could exist up here. And the next day they come across another figure on a sled with I think one dog left. He's stuck on a block of ice. He's essentially trapped on this frozen bit of ice, and he can't escape from it now because the ice is broken up, and they bring him aboard. He wants to know if they're going north. It takes a few days to recover, and then he begins to tell his story to the captain. And this man's name is Victor Frankenstein. He grew up somewhere around Geneva. He went off to study, I forget what it's called in the book. I think they call it natural sciences, which I believe is something like what we would call biology. How he was so especially talented experimenting, and one day he created life. This book is relatively short. We don't go into all those gory details about collecting the body parts and assembling. What we do get is that this creature that he gives life to is enormous, 8 feet tall. It's huge, and he's given it a very good brain, which we will discover later. However, as soon as this creature comes to life, Victor Frankenstein looks at what he's created, and it is so horrible. Perhaps he didn't realize what a monster he was building while it was inanimate. And when he sees that it is alive, the horror is too much for him to bear, and he runs off. He abandons his laboratory, and he just swiftly departs. We will learn later that the monster remembers this. The very first instances of life, the very first thing it experienced upon creation was to see his creator absolutely filled with horror and disgust, scream and run off. That is the first impression the monster has of the world where it now dwells. Mentally, it is an infant. It has to live, it has to survive. Because it has these enormous dimensions, it is unbelievably strong. Cover huge distances. The cold doesn't disturb him as much as it would us. Even the food he eats. The creature is a vegetarian. It does not want to eat any animals. It wants to eat fruits and berries and roots. That's what it subsists on. And from there, the story just gets more and more compelling. This monster is very intelligent. It is extremely intelligent. It just has to learn from the environment. Victor Frankenstein's purpose is to destroy this monster that he's created, which it has been impossible for him to do because the stronger and indefatigable, is that right? Doesn't get tired. Something that I think is quite important when you read this novel. The title is Frankenstein, or The Modern Prometheus. Perhaps I didn't see that the first time I read the book, or it just made a very strong impression on me this time. It's essential to keep in mind Prometheus while you're reading this novel. So who was Prometheus? I think we know that Prometheus received one of the most violent, curious punishments in all of Greek mythology, that Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to humans. And Zeus's punishment for Prometheus was that he would be chained to a rock, and every day an eagle would tear out and eat his liver. At night, the liver would grow back, and it would be repeated daily. Why did Zeus punish Prometheus so violently? Think about it. He has taken fire and given it to human beings. You should check this. Don't take my word for it. Fire is considered our first technological breakthrough. Once we harnessed the power of fire, humanity really got rolling. Previous to that, we were another kind of animal. And that is why the punishment was so extraordinarily severe, because, well, what happens if we receive the power of the gods? The gods are diminished. They are no longer divine. Now we are divine, or we are nearly as divine as the gods, and we can snap our fingers at the gods and say, oh yes, we felt ourselves very much beneath your godly power, but now we have that godly power too, and so we are not as impressed as we used to be. We elevate ourselves, and the gods, they're not those heavenly fearful creatures anymore, because we have stolen their divinity, or at least an aspect of it. And that is the story, that Victor Frankenstein does what no human being has ever done. Well, I can't say that human beings do create life, but he has created life with his own hands, not in the typical fun way that most people do. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's a new form of life. It is this monstrously enormous, intelligent creature. I don't know how he planned on killing the monster, because at one point the monster is just shot. It upsets him and he has to lay down for a while, but it doesn't faze him too much. He's an intelligent creature who is asking, why did you create me? What is my purpose? Why did you create me and then run away from me? Like, why did you leave me to fend for myself? Which is a very good question to ask of one's creator, I suppose. And then he becomes angry. Like, why did you make me so ugly? Why did you make me to be hated on this planet? Everywhere I go, I am universally hated and despised. At one point, he saves a little girl from drowning. He thinks now this will be his acceptance into humanity, but no, they see this monster with this little girl, and they imagine that he is the killer, that he's actually trying to drown her, which is when he gets shot. Just by the way, if you're interested in how my university career is going, I'm disappointed with some of the other students, and I would like to ask them why they are paying such an enormous sum of money for a university education and then can't be bothered to read essentially quite short novels. I've had this experience repeatedly where we are told to get into groups to discuss questions, and I am the only one in the group who's actually read the book. And it's hard for me because I'm so much older than them. I'm older than the professors, and I'm looking at them and I would like to ask, please, why did you not read the book? What are you doing in this room if you didn't read the book then? I already feel quite a distance between myself and the other students, in age. And if I started to cast aspersions, surely it won't win me any friends. I wonder how the other students feel about me. They probably just think, oh, there's that old man in the class. Oh well, I don't care. I'm the old man in the class. In the English class, I'm totally gonna kick ass. But I think for most of them in the class, it's not important for them. Like they're quite clear that, the teacher asked us, why are we taking this class? And at least 80% of them said, oh, I just needed the credits, which is not very inspiring, is it? So Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, please read it. It is, it's a classic, very exciting. It's a wonderful book to read. I recommend it strongly, and thank you for watching. Every week I'm getting a few more subscribers. I'm getting a lot of people watching the videos. A lot of people are leaving comments. I really appreciate that. The channel's growing, and it's because of you. And hopefully the videos don't suck. All right, thanks for watching. I often wondered if the eagle arrived at the same time, or if it was just, sometimes he came in the morning, sometimes came in the evening. Prometheus is there on the rock, and the sun has just gone over those trees. Eagle's gonna be here soon.